Hi, I'm Courtney.Speech or Courtney.Speech on social media. But let's get right to it. I want to teach you guys about Gestalt language processing. Here's your little intro course. Let's get right into it. We are talking about just Gestalt is technically the way that I think it's best pronounced. Gestalt, although I've heard it many different ways. From what I hear, Gestalt is the most correct pronunciation. So when we are talking about Gestalt language processing, we are also talking about natural language acquisition. This is your intro prep course into what all of this is and what it means. Something for you and I to both know is that most everyone, processes language with a little bit of Gestalt language processing. If you have ever learned all of the states to the song that I know in my head from 2nd or 3rd grade, Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, I can sing them all in the United States, all in order in alphabetical order because I learned that as a Gestalt. If you learned ready, set, go, that could be determined as a Gestalt. If you know any movie quotes, those are Gestalts or scripts. All of these things are the same thing. A Gestalt or Gestalt, a script, and delayed echolalia all mean the exact same thing. If someone is presenting with delayed echolalia, they have delayed imitation of language that they've heard. This oftentimes happens with the autistic individuals because they learn language primarily, oftentimes, through Gestalt language processing or natural language acquisition. This is all the same. I'm giving you all the buzzwords, but they are all essentially the same idea. Echolalia. Echolalia can present as it is imitated language, an imitation of something. So if I say hello and somebody says immediately back hello, or they imitate everything that you say, that is most likely would be called echolalia. When we say echolalia can be imitative immediately or delayed. If it is delayed, those are your movie scripts. Those are the things that speech language pathologists, even like ourselves, we used to call those movie scripts or movie talk. I generally just hear scripting as the language that I hear. When we are talking about Gestalts or Gestalts, we are talking about a plethora of language. Oftentimes kids will learn Gestalts that they cannot fully pronounce. And the biggest thing about Gestalt language processing is that these individuals learn based on intonation, not based on anything else. They're not necessarily looking at what that language means. They're looking at what the intonation means to them and what was happening in the moment when they heard that. That's why oftentimes I will hear kids say very strong language, sometimes inappropriate language will be their scripts because they heard those at times where they felt a deep emotion or a strong emotion. If the child was scared, if they were really, really excited, if they were really enjoying a connection with a person, they are more likely to imitate and pick up and learn that language. Backtracking to what I was saying before, when we were talking about just Gestalt language processing, sometimes they don't learn the exact words. They learn the intonation. So if you hear a kid saying da 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 ba 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 ba, that might be a script. That might be a Gestalt. Same thing. That is your then job to investigate. Figure out what does that ba 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 mean? Where does it come from? Does it come from a video? Does it come from something that you said, something that they heard at daycare, at school? Where finding out where they heard that and what was going on during the time that they heard it is how you are going to figure out what it means to that child. We then do that investigation even further and get into the nitty-gritty. What does this mean? Does it mean I'm scared? Does it mean I'm really excited? Does it mean that I want this or that? Figure out what it means. A really good example of this is one individual that I used to work with. She was so cute. She had a script or Gestalt that was oh no, she's falling. And she would say it like that every single time because the intonation is the biggest factor for her, for anybody who is picking up with the Gestalts. The funny innuendos about a movie script that you've learned from quoting movies is funny to you because of what was happening in that scene at the time. So for her, oh no, she's falling, it took me a couple months to figure out what does that mean, because she was saying at any point in time that something surprising happened, and that's how I figured it out. Anytime a new therapist walked in the door, anytime a big loud noise happened, anytime the blocks fell down that we were playing with, oh no, she's falling. That was a clear sign that she was a Gestalt language processor. That to her did not mean, oh no, she's falling, because nothing was falling at the time. It was, oh my gosh, I'm shocked, something new is here. So what do you do once you figure out the meaning? That's number 2, is our second part. You find out ways to first validate what they're saying. So I oftentimes will just repeat back what they say. Oh no, she's falling. Oh no, you're right, she is falling. And then model something that is appropriate, that you think might meet that need that they're trying to communicate. Oh my gosh, I'm so shocked. That scared me. Try modeling those throughout times, and remember, they have to be rich in intonation. For some kids who are Gestalt language processors, they do really, really well with your basic intonation or song. So I've taught a few of my clients or students in the past language, or how to request with the use of a song. Usually I pick songs that are unique to them and I add my own words to it, or I will create an intonation on the spot. So example, one time working with a student, I just started singing, let's blow bubbles, ready, set, go. He looked at me and his whole face lit up. And I kept singing that, kept singing it. By the end, he was imitating the tune. The next time I saw him, he was imitating that song. 2 times down the road, I started saying, let's do blankety blank, ready, set, go. Now we are at a stage where he is now mitigating in new language and is requesting things throughout his day. Let's play bouncy balls, ready, set, go. Let's go to the playground, ready, set, go. He's using that to request and to communicate. And that is how a Gestalt language processor learns, is they first learn those giant chunks and then they start to parse them down. The further up, the higher they get in the levels or stages of Gestalt language processing, the more random grammar you're going to hear, the more language you're going to hear in general, and then also you're going to hear them start to parse language down into smaller segments or just 1 word or 2 words. A child that only uses 1-word phrases is a sign that they are at a higher stage. A child who's using beginner grammar skills is a sign that they're at a higher stage. A child who only says a handful of things and they're just chunks of language, or they're not even articulated in a way that you or I can understand very easily, that's a sign that they're at a lower level stage, and what they need at that point in time is just more gestalts, more scripts, more language thrown at them in ways that meet what their need is. If they're musical, I highly recommend using music and using tunes and making it repetitive with your intonation. 2, look at their favorite movies, favorite YouTube shows, favorite anything that they're already gathering scripts from. Use that to your advantage and gather more scripts that have meaning from those things. This is just a very basic start, but this is to get you started. Welcome to the world of Gestalt language processing. 10 out of 10, I'd probably bet that you are partially a Gestalt language processor too, but autistic individuals are primarily, oftentimes, Gestalt language processors. So how can we meet them in the middle? Is we learn how to give them more gestalts, and we learn how to affirm the gestalts that they have and understand that they do have meaning to them, even though they may logically mean nothing to us. I'm Courtney.Speech. Go check out my freebies on my store, and I can't wait to see you guys some more. If you want to check out my community, I have everything located in one place, as well as multiple different videos and education from myself and other creators, all available to you in the community. You can also gain access to some of that community for completely free. Go check it out. I hope to see you soon.